Low-key feel like you're using that as an excuse.
Okay, did you put the city down? That's part of your address, right?
Yes.
Put your phone number. I don't care whose number it is, just put a phone number. Where it says technician, put your initials. See a little sign that says work to perform? Right, rebuild toilet. Okay, see down there where it says to the right, description of work performed? Okay, put 1. Remove guts from toilet. Number 2, replace with a fluid master and flapper. Fluid master is your toilet valve, your flapper is what seals the water. Number 3, replace toilet handle. Number 4, replace supply line. Number 5, replace angle stop. Number 6, replace tank to bowl kit. Okay, basically what we've done there is we've given a description of how to rebuild the toilet. Now we're going to go to the other side where it says materials and services. We're going to write 1, nope, white side to the left. There you go, write 1, fluid master. Amount $14. One handle. Amount $10. One flapper. Amount $5. One supply line. Steel braided. You can use two spaces if you need to. $10. One angle stop. $10. Tank to bowl kit, one tank to bowl kit, $14.23. Okay, everybody up to date?
What was the one before tank to bowl kit? It was
Angle stop. Okay, now get down to where it says labor. Write 1, and put service call. Where it says rate, put $85. And where it says amount, put 85. See where it says total labor below that? Write 85 there. And then add up your parts. Put where it says total material. Double check it before you write it in another spot. We don't use calculators.
No calculators.
We use our brain.
That's the cheaters.
We use our brain. But if you're out on a job site, believe me, you know, and your phone is cooked, what are you gonna do? Pull off your shoes and count your toes?
That's true.
So, okay, write your total material down. And you're gonna come to the other side. Over here where it says total material, write it there. And then put your total at the very bottom. Put your total amount for your material with your material cost. And then right here you put your $85 for your labor. Now if you'll notice, there's a couple other blank spaces there. Those we're not using. Those are for, like, for instance, if we use a sewer machine, there's a charge for a server machine. Miscellaneous is like a jackhammer and stuff like that. So what you do is take and put an X through those 3 lines. There's no taxes. We don't charge tax because we pay for a tax on our material when we buy it. If you work for a company that charges tax on a total job, somebody's going to jail. And put your total amount in there. Add those 2 up, put your total at the bottom. It's 148.23. I got 23 cents in there. Okay, that is an invoice. It's real simple. Now, normally, your plumber is going to do this, and he might get you to write things down for him. And that's the reason why you go ahead.
Question, what if there's too many parts to fit on the material and
And you
service?
can flip it over.
Just flip it over.
You can flip it over, and it says additional material and services and labor.
Okay.
Okay? But normally on service calls, you're not gonna run into that. And if it's a bid job, then it's being done at the office. So everything, you know, you're just gonna do a material list. All I want you to do is just understand it needs to be legible. And you need to add things up correctly. There is a thing down here that says terms, okay? If you are doing this ticket, whether it be a check, credit card, or cash, you need to note that. And the most important thing on this invoice is a signature. This is hard to read because it's really small, but that's because they pack a lot of stuff in there. But if you read it, this is a very important statement. I have the authority to order the work outlined above which has been satisfactorily completed. I agree that the seller retains right to equipment material furnished until final payment is made. If payment is not made as agreed, seller can remove said equipment materials at seller's expense. Any damage resulting from said removal shall not be the responsibility of the seller. We are the seller. Okay, and the reason for that disclaimer is, and it's happened to me, guys, it's gonna happen. You do the work, they don't want to pay you. They don't want to sign.
What would you have to do then?
I just walk outside, call the sheriff's department. Also, on the other side, there's a warranty. It explains what the warranty is, and it's just a generic 30-day warranty. A lot of parts that we sell have their own factory warranty for 1 year and stuff like that. So, but most important part is customer signature and the date. They need to sign that. So, even before they give you a check, even before you ask for payment, well, there's my invoice, would you please sign it? They need to sign that invoice in order for me to take that material back out if they don't pay for it. Now, a lot of companies will have you do hour tickets. For instance, they'll give you a sheet at the beginning of the week. So they want you to keep track of your hours. So if you're there 8 hours, you put your 8 hours down, you took a half-hour lunch, however it works out, you know. But it's very important to always document. Now, everybody has telephones. You do a job, click, take a picture of it. What's the picture worth? 1,000 words. So, let's say for instance you put a new faucet on the kitchen sink. Click, take a picture of it. You get back to the shop, turn in your paperwork, customer calls up. He didn't put a faucet in. He didn't put a faucet in. And he charged me for it. No, boss, I put a new faucet in, see? You know? So, you'd be amazed. So, it's always nice to document everything you do. Just take a picture. You know? If you're working underneath the sink, you put in all new drain pipes and stuff like that, click, take a picture. It protects you. Really protects me, and it's just very simple. I had one house, I had a guy went in, back of the refrigerator, they come with a hose off the back of the refrigerator to hook up to an ice line. Some come with a factory hose. They don't have a compression fitting. So he took a picture of it. Factory hose. Connected our line with a push-pull fitting that was provided by the refrigerator, brand new. Delivered by Lowe's. We hooked it up. 3 weeks later, house flooded. $28,000 worth of damage. I get a call from their insurance company wanting to put a claim against me for $28,000, my insurance company, for flooding these people's house because we hooked the ice line up. So I'm like, no. What leaked? Well, the gray line that came out from underneath the refrigerator blew open. Well, that's part of the refrigerator. We had no control over that. But we had a picture of it to show that that's factory part of the refrigerator, and what was on the other side of the fitting is what we installed. What we installed didn't fail. What was part of the refrigerator failed, so the claim got denied. But that's a simple reason to take a picture. So even when you're out on a construction job, you know, and you're putting in trenches and stuff like that, let's say you're digging along and you hit a wire. Okay, it could be a digital cable, it could be somebody's phone wire, it could be a sprinkler wire. Click, take a picture of it. You got documented proof. You know, could be a dead wire. You don't know. It's going to happen, guys. You're going to hit things, man. It's just part of the business. So always document everything you do, and that's what that paper's for. Let's say, for instance, you're in the house and let's say you're in a really nasty situation. It's bad. It's just not good. Note it on your ticket, guys. Turn it over. Back here, somewhere down here. Make a note. Just make a note. Protect yourself. Say the body. Here's one that gets us all the time. You crawl underneath the kitchen cabinet to hook up a kitchen sink. It's been leaking. The bottom of that cabinet is soft. It breaks. First thing I hear is, oh, your plumber broke the bottom of my cabinet. No, the bottom of your cabinet was rotted out from it leaking. But if you take a picture of it and note it, you're covering your ass and you're covering my ass. So, simple things. You know, if you're there to fix a leak, something's going to be damaged. And it happens all the time. You know, probably out of every 10 houses we go in on service calls for leaky kitchens, 6 of them, the bottom of the cabinets are rotted out because water's been leaking. We're going to make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. And if we make a mistake, we just own up to it, we fix it, or I get somebody to fix it. He fixes something and it leaks, and it floods, ruins a wooden floor. $2,600 the last one cost me. Yeah. But I'm not going to turn in $2,600 to the insurance company. I'm just going to pay it because your rates are my rates go through the roof. You know. That's why those tickets right there is your lifeline between you and the company. You know. Yeah, you can have those. So you always want to make sure that you note anything that's out of the unusual. Same thing with your timesheets. That if you work for a company and they give you a timesheet and you have a problem that day, make sure you note it. You don't have a right, he doesn't have a right to talk down to you, okay? He's no different than you are. He gets up in the morning and puts his pants on, right? So as long as you're paying attention, you're doing your job, he has no reason to holler, to scream, or say, make you do anything that he won't do, or anything that's unsafe. If they do, note it. Protect yourself. Anybody here ever seen Prince? Okay. Now, these are kind of hard to see, but I've got nothing to hang them with. Okay. Basically what we have here is a house. All right? And if you'll notice, it's 3 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 1, 2, the kitchen, washer, dryer, laundry tub. Now, if you look over here at the chicken scratching, that's me. Right here is where I kind of sit down and I do a takeoff, you know. So what I do is I go through and I put down different things, you know, material, what it's going to cost, round it out. So basically I came up with the fixtures for the house for $24.25, okay? And then what I do is a toilet, a sink, a lavatory sink, 1 fixture each. It's called a fixture. All right. Bathtubs, 2 fixtures. That's how they count out vents too. Don't ask me why, but the state says a bathtub or a shower is a double fixture because it uses twice as much water as a sink would. So they call them double fixtures. All right, so what I do is a washing machine counts as a 2-fixture unit also. I multiply how many fixture units are in the house with a formula, and that's where I come up with $5,000. So basically, for me to go in and plumb this house underground, remember we talked about the underground?
Yeah.
And then we talked about the top out and the trim? That house right there is $7,425. Okay? When we bid these not thinking that we're gonna have to go back and redo all this again. That's the reason why you do it right the first time. Because every time you go back to have to move a line, or you have to fix something because you didn't do it right the first time, that profit margin goes way down, and your boss ain't gonna like it. So, this right here looks like a lot of things. Well, guess what? When we start, we've got this great big pile of dirt, and you got form boards, wood form boards, all the way around. That's gonna be the diameter of the slab, okay? So what you have to do is we have to put those pipes in the ground to come up exactly in a wall, in the bathroom, exactly where it needs to go. And if you don't do that, then you're in there with a jackhammer busting the floor up, moving it. This is how you do it right here. These are all your marks. Now, if you look, you'll see right here, goes 4 foot, 2'5", 5'2", 4'7". There's different marks for different fixtures. So you gotta figure, you know, what we do is we run stringers. So you start on your form board. For instance, let's say I'm upside down. I can't do this upside down. So I'm gonna walk over here just to show you. So here we got this great big slab, okay? All your form boards are up, run around, you know, and your form boards for your garage. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find a wall, an exterior wall. This point is, we'll use the left side. And everything that we pull from this side of the wall is gonna be from the form board over. So, basically, you're gonna pull to this first bathroom, a stringer, dead center. That's a 6-inch wall, so you're gonna go 11 foot, or I'm sorry, 17 foot, 4 inches over. Put a stake in the ground. 17, 4 over, you can mark the form board because the board's there. And you're gonna run a stringer. That's the center of our wall. So now we know the center of the tub is 1 foot 11 inches from that form board, 4 foot 6 inches to the center of the toilet, and it's 8 foot to the center of that lavatory. And that's how you're gonna mark that stringer. And that's how you're gonna know where to get your pipes in the right places. And your plumber will show you how that works. So, they run stringers. That's what all these measurements are for. Everything that you see on here has a measurement that tells you exactly where that pipe's gotta come up. Because if you miss it, and you walk in, concrete's poured, they got all the framework up, and your pipes are sticking out in the middle of the living room floor, guess what? You put them in the wrong place. And you got some work, to do.
I think so.
Yeah, that's where we lose. That's why when you do rough-ins, you gotta make sure you hit your marks. Remember we talked about the, I showed you on the board that little schematic of the line? That's your sewer line.
Okay, so it's just.
Yep. Remember I showed you a drawing that had all the connections on it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not the Bible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. For instance, this particular one, we're gonna start out over here. Okay, they show a clean out on this outside wall. Nobody puts a clean out on an outside wall.
So,
The architect just likes to draw little squiggly lines, okay? First off, you know, you're starting out with a toilet right here, okay? You're gonna come through, you're catching your lavs, you're catching your shower, and your vent, it'll show you where your vents are right here, VTR. Remember what I said, VTR? Vent through the roof. Well, these fixtures are close enough in this bathroom that they can utilize that vent. Now,
use it in one vent?
yeah, in that bathroom, it'll use one vent. Now, once you get over to where the washing machine hookup is, there's another vent, because now you're too far away. You always have to remember, any drain that you hook up has to be after that bathroom group. You can't take the washing machine and tie in before these sinks. It has to follow in line.
Right, okay.
Bathroom, laundry room, bathroom,
So it's all in order.
yep, kitchen. Everything is on its own isolated line, and there's a reason for it. Let's say you hook the washing machine line up back here, and that line plugged up, then it floods out the sink in the shower, and you flood the house. So that's the reason why when they draw these, that's how it goes. They show a washer and, let's see where we got here. That's the kitchen. Shows an 1.5 inch line. If I ever seen anybody put an 1.5 inch line in for a drain line, I'll kick them right square in the ass. Okay? That's recommended. All right? Nothing less than 2 inch.
And that's only 1.5, you said?
You know, 2 inch line. You know, this one here says, by code, you could put an 1.5 inch line. The problem is you're gonna have stoppage issues from a kitchen sink with an 1.5 inch line. And you're the one that's got to warranty this house for 2 years, so you don't want no problems. So, they show a 4 inch line coming across here, okay? Most houses, 3 inch line. That's why I said, just because it's road down here, that's what the code says is allowable.
But you gotta always go.
But you gotta go with common sense,
Right.
okay? I don't run 1.5 inch lines except to a shower, you know, and I'll reduce it when I bring it out of the P-trap. Everything I run is 2 inches. You bring an 1.5 inch, you bring a 2 inch line up for a lab, then reduce it to 1.5 inches when it comes out of the wall. I've never put an 1.5 inch line under a slab because I don't want it stopping up. I don't want to have to deal with it, so. Anyhow, you'll learn that. Your plumber, as a matter of fact, when you do a rough in, you'll never see an 1.5 inch pipe on a truck. Nothing less than 2 inch. It'll be 2 inch, 3 inch. Most plumbers, all your main lines are done in 3 inch. As soon as it exits,
Dang, it's smaller.
it goes to 4 inch.
What do you mean, bigger?
Yeah. Anytime you exit a unit, you have to go to 4 inch
Why is that?
because it's just the main line. That's just the way the code calls it. Put a clean out within 12 inches of the building, and then it increases to 4 inch to your septic field or to your drain field or wherever it is you're gonna go.
You
So,
have to learn that later
yeah.
on.
You'll learn on prints. They never write down water lines
Why is that?
because architects just don't like plumbers. They never give us schematics on water lines.
wanna make it easy on
It
us.
drives me nuts. It's real simple. Your water source on the house, let's say, is right here on the corner of the garage. All right, comes from the street, comes up. All right, you're going to run a full-size 3/4 inch line all the way through this house to the very last fixture. Same thing with the hot water line. You're going to run it from the hot water heater all the way through the house to the very last fixture. When you leave each one of these 3/4 lines to go to another fixture, then they're going to reduce to 1/2 inch. But code says you have to run 3/4 inch to the very last fixture.
Okay.
So as long as you always remember it's full size to the last fixture, then you can reduce
What was that, full size?
full size all the way to your last fixture. Which you're going to learn that with your plumber. Anytime that you pass through, you know what a footer is?
Footer? Nope.
Footer is the foundation, all the way around the outside of your foundation. They have to dig down 2 to 3 feet, and they pour a footer. What that does is it supports the weight of the block for the walls, so that the slab doesn't do this.
Yeah.
Okay? If you run pipe in a footer, you have to sleeve it. The pipe that you sleeve it with has to be twice the size of the pipe that you're running.
And that sleeving just means it goes around it?
Yeah, it goes around it. So in other words, if you're running a 3 inch pipe through this footer,
6 inch.
you have to sleeve it with a 6 inch pipe.
Okay.
So here's the reason for that. Let's say down the road there's a problem and you have to break the floor open to fix a pipe. Well, you can dig up outside. You can literally pull that 3 inch pipe out of there without having to get into the footer, because if you compromise the footer, you compromise the integrity of the house.
So you said the pipe has to be.
Twice the size
Twice.
of whatever pipe's passing through that concrete, whether it be water or sewer. So if you run a 3/4 inch line through a footer, then you just put a 2-inch sleeve on it. So, and it's easy to do, guys. You'll learn. It's so easy once you get into it. You know, it's just like a puzzle. You know, just putting pieces together. It's a puzzle. You know, most of your water lines will run in the same ditch that your sewer lines are in, under the slab. You know, concrete houses suck because you got to go back. You have to chase the stacks through the walls. You know, as the guy's putting the concrete block up. Wood houses, and you just go and drill them, you run it. So, but these are things you'll learn. But this is a plumbing print, and we did this house. As a matter of fact, we did do this house. Yeah, this is one on Jade, probably about 4 years ago. You want purple fingers? That's the shit
My
to
dad
use.
had some sitting around. I opened it and I smelled it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
It would knock
My
me
dad
out.
was doing the piping on his on the trailer room.
Okay, guys, these are what they refer to as a DWV fitting. Drain, waste, and vent. Those are not made for pressure. So in other words, you can't use that to run your drinking water. Those are strictly for drain lines, okay? This right here is probably, no, it's not good. That's a Y, a 45. I don't think I have a sanitary tee with me.
Looks like a water.
Yeah,
Good job, Jim.
it's real simple. It's a Y. You know, this can go this way, this way, this way, this way, and go this way
That's the nice one.
on a vent. That's the only fitting that you can turn any 4 directions. The only fitting. So, if we got a drain line coming out and we're going that way, let's say this is our wall where the septic tank's gonna go. All right? So, here's a drain line. Coming this way. Right here. We get to our first bathroom group. That goes over to that bathroom group. Okay? So now we're running over there. So anyhow, we get up here, and let's say we get, I'll take this out, right here. Okay, now the bathroom's over here that we gotta get. Okay? You can't pretend this is you can't use that fitting. You can't turn and go over, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take, you gotta make a turn. You take 45, put 2 of them together, then you can make a turn. You know the reason for that? It's a sweep. It's a long sweep. That's a short sweep.
Easier.
Yeah, it allows the poop to pass through. The toilet paper or whatever you're actually gonna put in there. A short sweep will bind up. So now you got a long sweep. Or if you're just gonna go part of the way, you can go this way, lay it like this, bring your other fitting right here, and then go over. But you can never do this.
Quick time.
No.
Yeah. The only time you can do this, they do make a long sweep 90. One piece. I don't like using them because what happens is let's say if you go ahead and you get up to this point, you start to make your turn and you realize you missed it.
You can't
Yeah,
use
that's
it.
true.
You know, you can't, you cut this out, you just throw it away. At least with this, you can add another fitting farther down the line and reconfigure your diag. So in other words, you're not throwing away, dude, you know what that fitting is? It's $8. So if you cannibalize 10 of these on a job, how much is that? That's $80 worth of fittings you just throw away. This one right here, $15. You know why? Tariffs. Mexico, China, petroleum. You gotta have petroleum to make those fittings.
Petroleum jet.
Oil. That's what they use to make plastic. So when the price of oil is high, plastic fittings go up. A lot of these fittings are made by a company called Nibco. They come out of Mexico. So, I mean, it's just a fact of life.
This came from Mexico.
This one, I don't know which brand this one is. This is a Spears. This was made actually in USA. So that was probably more expensive.
Would have done it.
Yeah. That was probably a lot more expensive.
Feels like a hefty old.
This is a DWV coupling. See how shallow it is?
Yeah.
If you use a pressure coupling, it's about this long. The reason is because these only have to have 80 pounds of pressure on them to be tested. So they're not gonna blow apart. You put 160 pounds on that, it's gonna blow apart right now. So, that's a drain fitting. This fitting right here is used for one thing, and one thing only.
Toilets?
Just like I'm holding it. Up and down.
That's it.
You can come out of it, in other words, you can take this, come out of it with a reducer, with a piece of pipe, and go straight up.
In the poops when you go through that?
Yep, because you're in a horizontal position. Well, your poop ain't going this one, this is for a sink.
Oh.
You can't use anything less than 3 inch on the
I was
toilet.
gonna say, poops got an issue
But
on that.
the only thing you can use a 90 for is straight up and down. Okay? That's it.
You said 245.
You can't lay it down. I'm talking about to go
If
sideways.
you were to lay it down, what would happen? The water would just stay there?
No, it's not gonna pass inspection.
Oh. Then you screwed.
And you said,
Yeah.
what type of pipe is this?
That's DWV. Drain, waste, vet.
W.
Yeah, DWV.
How many inches?
That's 2 inch. Now DWV comes in 1.5 inches, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and 6 inch. That's the size it comes in. Okay? But that's for drains. This is water pipe.
That's for the
That's for exterior. That's Schedule 40 PVC. Okay, that's made for water. Now, understand, that's exterior only. You cannot use Schedule 40 PVC pipe once you pass a wall, go inside the house. You can't use that pipe. That's only for like outside hose bibs to run your water main to the street. You can use it for irrigation as long as it's outside. So you can't use that for potable water once you pass through a wall. But see the difference? The thickness and the how deep the hub is
Yup.
compared to that.
Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah, it's a lot deeper. That's pressure pipe. Now, this pipe here, Schedule 40, right now it's Schedule 40.
Schedule 4.
Yeah, Schedule 40 is your pressure pipe. And it comes in, Schedule 40 comes in 1/2 inch, 3/4, 1 inch, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. Then it goes 6.
So I should just do 1 through 4. And
No. No. You got each quarter, but once you get to 4 inch, your next size is 6 inch. There's no
That's it?
such thing as 5.
Oh, why did they skip 5?
Who defines? So,
That's fine.
point is, it goes from 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
Okay.
So it's always even numbers once you pass 4 inch.
8, 4, 6, 8. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, you said?
Huh?
4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
Yeah. So it's all even numbers.
What was the inches? You know that?
The biggest you're ever gonna use, in all honesty, when it comes to schedule, 40 is you might use 4-inch. Only on a commercial job, outside. You're not gonna use any. But we don't do copper slabs anymore. First off, you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, man.
You can do a house material-wise for about $400 with CPVC. Material with copper right now, they run about $3,000 to do a house.
It lasts longer though.
So, huh?
It would last longer.
No,
No?
no.
Then why do people do it?
Why? Because that's what was available when they did it. But copper wouldn't cost you $3,000 20 years ago. You could do a house for $300. You know. So, and copper deteriorates to where this doesn't. That'll stay under a slab forever and ever, amen. Chemicals don't hurt it. The only thing that hurts that pipe
This is solid?
is the sun. Or animals. I don't care whether it's made out of stainless steel, or if it's copper, or if it's, you know, lead, or if it's galvanized, or what it is. You know, if you got a slab that cracks and it pulls apart, it's gonna break the pipe, because the pipe is rigid. So, it is what it is. If I told you to go out to the truck, get me a 3/4 inch male adapter, CPVC. You know what you're gonna go get?
Something with a pointy thing. It connects into the bigger thing. Threads, right?
Well, what's a male adapter?
It's the thing that plugs into. Alright, so check me
Yeah,
out.
so
Female, male. Fits.
This is side.
Yeah, but if I say the word adapter,
Adapter.
So-
it means it's threaded.
Threaded, there you go.
Hey, that's what I
Okay,
said.
it means it's threaded. So, that's a male. There's a reason for it, because that's a female.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For some reason or another, in plumbing, everything ends up sexual, don't ask me why.
You just tell
But-
them.
Now, if I say I want a female bushing, there's no threads in it, it's just a smooth bushing that goes inside a pipe to reduce the size of the pipe. But if I say adapter, it's threaded.
God bless you.
Bless you.
So that's the difference between a bushing and an adapter. I'll get one on the truck in a minute. Okay. 2-inch line breaks. You dig it up. It's rigid. You can't put a coupling on a piece of pipe you can't move. If they're butt to butt and there's a hole in that pipe, you can't cut it and put a coupling on it because you can't move it. So what you do is you cut it, you take this off, there's a little grease. It's a duck call.
What was that thing used for?
This is what they
That's how
call,
hunters get ducks.
this is a dresser coupling. This slides over the pipe, the rubber slides over the pipe, then you slide this over the pipe, and then you back it up to the other one, you tighten them up and it seals on both ends.
Started fire.
And that's what you can correct a broken pipe with. So, but these are one of the things you can use in line, because if not, then you have to do what they call an expansion loop. That's where you have to take a 90s, come up, 90 back over. So
Oh,
that
that's
you
a lot of work right there.
It is, you know, I'd rather use a dresser coupling if you can. Now, they do make an expansion coupling. They're not approved by code, but they use them all the time. There's actually a coupling that has a coupling inside a coupling that expands and has rubber seals. You know, and we carry them, because you get on a situation where you got a 2-inch line and, you know, you can't dig it back far enough on both sides to be able to move the pipe, so you just put an expansion coupling on
Or
it.
wouldn't the rubber deteriorate over time?
No, that ain't gonna deteriorate. And this thing's been in the ground. This is a used one. And this thing is just dry rotted. It hasn't been used, it was just been laying on the shelf, and I just started it in the box just to show you, so. Let's take 10 minutes. 400 pounds per square inch will blow a hole through you in a heartbeat.
Oh,
You know,
how much is the fire? You know the fire?
fire hose, they run about 120 pounds.
So that can hold that pressure?
Yeah. Yeah, that plastic pipe will hold it. If you got higher pressure than that, then you have to go to a metal pipe. You have to go to either stainless steel, or you have to go to a galvanized pipe. Or a ductile iron pipe.
So it's the strongest plastic pipe?
Yeah, it's the strongest plastics pipe that you can get, Schedule 80. So,
Schedule 80.
yep. And everything is like ridiculously priced when you get Schedule 80.
How many pounds per horse?
Hmm?
How is the?
This will hold like 400 and some pounds pressure. Yeah. And it's called PVC-I.
PVC.
Yeah, you add an I onto it, PVC. Don't ask me why there's an I on it, but that's, and it always comes gray, always.
And would you have to paint this one too, if,
Well, that's never gonna be outside.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's never gonna be outside, so. That's usually in a pump room. Where, because here's the deal, let's say you have a 5-story building. Okay? Water's coming in a 2-inch line. The first story, everybody's gonna have pressure. As water rises, it loses pressure. So, in order to maintain pressure on the 5th floor, as much as you have on the 1st floor, you have to put a pump in, which forces that water up into a loop and brings it back down. And that's when you get into your schedule pipe. And you have to understand that that can only be used in a pump room. So, once you go into the actual physical building itself, it's gonna convert over probably to copper. Because commercial buildings still use copper.
That's all it uses, copper?
Yeah, on your commercial buildings. If you have a hospital or a school, all this pipe that you have right here cannot be exposed. You can put it under the slab, but once it leaves the slab, it has to go to a ferrous pipe, because when this stuff burns, it produces a very toxic chemical, very toxic. It's because it's polypropylene vinyl pipe. And when it burns, you take a good whiff of it and you're probably gonna go to the hospital. So, it's not good. So, that's the reason why in commercial buildings that are public buildings, they don't allow PVC pipe above the slab.
So our house burned down, and we took a whiff of this.
There ain't enough of it in there that you're gonna get it.
Okay.
You got a few vent stacks in there going up, that's about it. You know, but when you start putting in 3 and 4 inch vent stacks in a commercial building, that's a lot of plastic pipe. So they convert over to cast iron. Most buildings, all your pipe work, once you leave the slab, is done in cast iron on public buildings. So cast iron burns, it just falls apart, it doesn't
Doesn't need, like I said.
produce any toxic. But this stuff here, very toxic. And the first time you go to solder a copper pipe that's next to it, you burn it, and you get a whiff of it, you'll understand, because everybody will.
You've done it too?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What happened?
Well, it'll make you
Hit you.
dizzy for a minute.
Oh, so it's like a perfect buzz.
Yeah. 3 different phases of pipe: Schedule 80, Schedule 40, and then you got your DWV, and then you get on to your CPVC for your water lines. Now, the best way to break it up is potable water. That's water that you can use every day to drink, cook, wash, whatever you want. It's called potable. All right, always remember that, potable water. That's the term definition used in the code book 1,000,000 times.
Drinkable water?
Yeah, if it doesn't say potable, then it's not, then it's wastewater. There's only other one water that they don't consider potable, and that's water that's used in a fire system. You know, that's the reason they call it that. Once it leaves the bathtub, or it leaves the sink, or it leaves the toilet, now it becomes sewer water, because it's been contaminated.
Dennis, I have a question.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
We
It's
had
like how
reclaimed
it
water,
went
doing at where I live.
Yeah,
Do you do any of the hookups for that, or is that?
okay,
done by-
reclaimed water, guys, let me explain to you what reclaimed water is they have a sewer plant. Remember I explained to you how they treat water? It starts out as sewage, it goes through a chlorinator, goes through a digester tank, and then it goes into a regurgitation tank. And what they basically do is they kill all the bacteria in it, but it's still sewer water anyway you want to look at it. Normally they pump it into the ground, and Mother Nature filters it out. Because Mother Nature has a natural filter system of its own, you know, with the sand and the rocks and the stuff in the ground. Well, what they do now is they'll put it in a big tank, they treat it, they get it down to where it is now, if it's sprayed, it won't hurt you. In other words, it's not contaminable to the point to where you're getting sewer water. And they use this for irrigation. Because grass loves shit. I mean, look at cow pastures. You know, they're the greenest. Look at your septic tank where your leach field is at. It's always green. Why? Because it likes it. The grass grows, it's got lots of nutrients. So what they do is they use reclaimed water. Now, reclaimed water has a lot of chlorination in it. So sometimes, you know, it's great for grass, but it's not good for plants because it has a lot of chlorination in it. The way you can tell if it's reclaimed water is it's going to come in a purple pipe.
In a purple pipe?
Purple.
That's it.
Pipe that's designated the color purple. So, there you go. We're getting some colored pipe for you, man. You're getting excited, I can tell.
Go.
All your main lines that you see on the side of the road, if they're purple, you ever seen the big lines laying outside the road that are purple? Kind of pink in color? You'll see. Look along 19. You'll see them putting them in. That's reclaimed water lines.